Alright, so here's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. So, I believe I originally played this game on the PS3, and for some reason back then I couldn't get into it. The game just felt incomplete to me, but now that it's updated and a lot of the issues are fixed with it, you know, this is actually a really fun fighting game. So, I like to call this one actually a cinematic fighting game because you're going to be trying to do a lot of like crazy moves in this game. And one of the things I really love about it is that the environments, you play on levels from the series, of course, and certain events happen in those levels that you have to be care of, like hazards pretty much. So pretty much like at the end of the Stardust Crusaders saga, when they got to Egypt, there's a part in that where Dio forces the mayor to drive through a bunch of people, you know, to try to catch up with Joseph. Well, during the part in that level when you're fighting someone, you have to be careful of that hazard. You know, they will actually hit you with the car like they hit the people. So it's stuff like that is like pretty cool, and it's like it adds to the lore, I would say, of the series. So definitely a cool game, very cinematic though. So a lot of people might not like it. I'm a fan of JoJo, so I loved it immediately. You know, I don't think it's better than the Capcom game. That one holds a special place in my heart. But this one's on point. Any JoJo fan will want this game. It's definitely a lot of fun. All the characters are included in it, and it goes over what if scenarios too with certain characters that they fight each other. So definitely check this one out, folks. Now here is Extreme Ghostbusters Ultimate Invasion. Now, I was a fan of the cartoon back in the day, even though it didn't last long. But I picked this game up because it was a rail shooter. So I said, you know what? Heck yeah, let me go ahead and pick this up. But man, did they put minimal effort into this game. This could have been something great. The problem with this game is that you're not moving around a lot. You're pretty much stationed in one position for a majority of the level, unfortunately. I mean, you do dodge and then you attack your enemies pretty much. But there's no action going on, and it really sucks. And a lot of enemies are pretty much the same enemies coming at you through the whole level. So, oh man, this could have been something special, but I just got it because I was a fan of the series. So I figured, hey, I got the Extreme Ghostbusters game now. What could I recommend it to you guys? Only if you were a diehard fan of the series. If not, you're gonna want to pass this one up. Next up is Clive N Wrench. So this is a 3D platform game, and it's kind of reminiscent of games like Banjo-Kazooie, Jak and Daxter, maybe even a little bit of Ratchet and Clank. But I'm in the early stages of the game, and one thing I could tell you guys is that this is a game that will suck you in. I was having a good time almost immediately. The only thing I could say that I didn't like so far is that the main characters don't talk. At least they didn't talk while I was playing. You know, I like for the protagonist to have like a voice in the game. That's one of the reasons why I never finished Jak and Daxter, because I just didn't feel attached to the game because the main character didn't have a voice. I know that's silly looking back at it now, but this is something that bothered me at the time. This game, I really feel the potential in it, and you know, I really feel like it's going to get a lot more fun as I go through it. So I'll be doing a review on this game here probably in a week or so look out for that. But in the meantime, I definitely, so far, I think you guys should check this one out. It's actually pretty good. Here's Policenauts, English translation. Policenauts, also known as police cops. No, I'm just kidding. But this is one of Hideo Kojima's visual novels that was really popular back in the day, but it never got an English translation until a few years ago. So I'm looking forward to playing this. I think you can use the light gun on it as well, or the mouse at least. I know the Saturn version is supposed to be superior. That got an English translation as well, a fan translation, I should say. Now, I got mine from Project Retro Games, and I'll leave a link in the description for this as well, with the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. But it comes with 2 discs and instruction manual, of course. So it's a long box PlayStation 1 game that they put together. It looks really authentic, very professional looking, I would say. But for those of you that have played this game and possibly beaten it, you know, let me know what I'm getting into. Is it worth the time? I think it is, but I just want to hear it from somebody else.
感触はあったな。言えない。早く行け。
Here's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs for the Dreamcast. Now, this is a port of the arcade game, which is a beat 'em up, a 3-player beat 'em up. Now, this was originally a Saturday morning cartoon. I would never ever catch it. I always miss it. Either I slept in too late, or it would come on during the time I was watching another cartoon, which I can't think of the name of. But I never really fell onto the series. But Capcom decided to make this game after the series had ended. So, yeah, I think it was a popular beat 'em up in the arcades. I know it was known for its violent continue screen, where the guy's holding a gun at your head, which looks pretty insane. But this is definitely an above average beat 'em up. You know, I would kind of compare it to the Punisher in a way. Just, of course, the Punisher is more violent, but they're on the same level, I would say. And yeah, I got this from Project Retro Games. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to pick this up as well. But definitely, I think this is worth picking up, especially for the Dreamcast, which the Dreamcast is the perfect system for arcade beat 'em ups. Here's the Rumblefish Part 2. This was originally only in arcades. It had an unofficial Dreamcast port, but happy it's here on the PS2, Switch, and the PS5. I think they should have added the first one and made it like a pack or something like that, but maybe there's a reason why they didn't add the first one. Maybe it just doesn't live up to the second game. But this is a technical fighting game. It's pretty tough. I had a hard time just getting to the boss and even beating the boss. The boss, man, she was tough. I think it took me like 10 times before I finally beat her, and then I only beat her by time. But this is a technical fighting game where you can't really rely on the auto combo system like they do in a lot of newer fighting games these days, where you can just like do one button combos. No, you got to be creative and make your own combos and hope that they work, of course. There's a lot of cool characters in this game that I think a lot of people will adapt to. I mean, I feel like everybody is very, very unique. You know, I know a lot of games like copy certain games like Street Fighter or whatever like that, but this game just really totally feels different. And I love that you can actually have these moves where you can actually slow down time and like beat your opponents up with combos while the time is slowed down. Stuff like that in this game is very technical and cool. So I think a lot of hardcore fans will like this game. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any online play, so it'll be local co-op only if you plan on playing against friends or doing tournaments. But I love this is another game that was rescued from the arcades and ported to a console so more people could play it.
Round 1. Fight! Very good!
その程度か。
You win!
Here's Velvet Assassin. Man, I really I thought that I was gonna like this game, but it just feels way too repetitive. I mean, pretty much you're gonna be just like stalking your enemies, coming up behind them and stabbing them. And there's no real story development besides her talking about her memories, and she doesn't really interact with anyone. So it's just, I don't know how to really feel about the story in this game, because I feel like the story will be the driving factor in this game, not the gameplay, because the gameplay is just too slow and repetitive, at least by today's standard. I don't know. Maybe I'll give the game another chance. Maybe I'll do a voting or something like that. You guys could vote if I should try it again. But I just feel like the game is not going to go anywhere, and I don't want to waste my time. We are going to be doing an unboxing of a collector's edition I got from Project Retro Games. This is the Tales of Phantasia Collector's Edition, and it also comes with a special edition VHS of the OVA movies. Now, just to let you guys know that the game only got an official release on the Game Boy Advance in America, and that version is pretty much not very liked, I would say. But the PlayStation version is the superior version, and this box set is a fan's translation of that version in English. But more into that later. Let's take a look at what's inside here. Very excited to show you guys this. So opening this up, you automatically notice the PlayStation controller there. At least I did. I was like, okay, PlayStation controller, extra controller, cool. And this right here, I thought this was like kind of like an art book or something like that, but it's actually an AV cord in there, and you'll find out why that's in there later. Now, next up is a certificate, tells you what comes inside the packaging. I glanced at this, and this pretty much tells you everything's in here, but I was surprised by the last item that you're going to see in here. So let's keep looking. Next up here is the long box jewel case. I love the long boxes. You know, I thought they were great back in the day. I would have preferred all PlayStation games be like this, but of course, it would have taken up a lot of room. So, the jewel cases, I understand. Then you have the power cord here, and also original PlayStation controller. A lot of you guys probably haven't seen this controller in a long time. It's always DualShock. But this was the big surprise here, is that here is the PlayStation that comes with it. And also you can see the artwork is pressed on the cover of here. So I'll show you guys more of a close-up of that in a bit. But this is everything that comes in this packaging, and I am pretty impressed. This is really awesome. And I'm celebrating the Tales of anniversary with this collection, because Tales of Symphonia that just came out is all broken up, and you know, that's another video to talk about that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But this is something special right here, the first Tales of game. Now we take a closer look at the long box jewel case itself. So most people will probably be getting this version by itself if they don't get the collector's edition. I'll talk about that a little bit towards the end. But this case and the packaging for it is really authentic to original PlayStation games. I think a lot of people will really like this and appreciate this. And of course, with long boxes like this, you got to have that padding in to protect the game from falling out of the case. Now, when it comes to disc itself, these games are pressed with a machine. They're not burnt. So just want everybody to know that. I talked about this on the channel before. Then, of course, the manual itself, which is the cover art as well. I wanted to ask you guys, did you like that back in the day, how PlayStation games used their instruction manuals as a cover for the game itself? I wasn't really too much of a fan of it. You know, of course I accepted it, but I much preferred how a lot of the PAL PS1 games would have a cover art itself separate from the manual. Now, this manual itself is very well done. Lots of cool art in here, lots of instruction on story, characters. I would prefer that it was laminated though, but still I know that could be more expensive, so it's definitely good the way it is. I'm not sure if a lot of people knew that there was an OVA animation for Tales of Phantasia. I think these were released to coincide with the PlayStation's original release, and Project Retro Games decided to put this on a VHS with like DVD quality, so pretty impressive. Now, packaging is really good here, as you can see here, very professional looking. Now, opening this up, you get 2 VHS tapes with 2 episodes each. The OVA was only 4 episodes. That kind of reminds me of how back in the day, like when Dragon Ball Z was released on VHS, and they used to have like 2 to 3 episodes on there. That was like barely, they could have put a lot more on there, but they always cheap this out. But of course, I think with VHS, the more episodes you put on a VHS, the lower the quality would be. I can't really remember how it would go with VHS tapes. But real quick, wanted to try out the VHS for you guys so you guys can see a little bit of the quality that you'll be getting if you decide to pick these up. It looked good on my end. I'm not sure how it's looking to you guys on this camera, but obviously I'm recording a VHS tape, so take that with a grain of salt. But from what I'm seeing, it looks good. But I don't want to leave you guys hanging with that quality. Here is the true quality of the VHS tapes you'll be getting if you decide to pick this up. And of course, after seeing the PS1 system, you know, with the artwork pressed on, I had to hook up my old school PS1 monitor to it just to kind of see how it looked. So earlier in the video, I talked about how this is a fan English translation of the game. There's 2 of them. The Gemini version is the older one, and the Phantasia one is the newest one. This version of the game is the Phantasia version, which pretty much has brighter text that's easier to see. Now going back to hooking up the PS1 screen here, as you can see, everything's hooked up nice and neat. And now I'm going to turn it on. First, I'll give you a little closer look at the disc real fast. You can see that going inside the system. And one thing I was excited to hear right now was the PlayStation boot up screen. That is so nostalgic, man. There is nothing like it, seriously. I don't want to show you guys too much more over the game screen, but you know, I do want to talk about a little bit of the gameplay with this game. So I found out about Tales of Phantasia when I was in Korea, and I bought a copy of it at the electronic market. Unfortunately, the game was only in Japanese, but I didn't care because I just wanted to see how the game was, and I love the animated intro they added to the game. Now, I can't really show it to you because I'll get copyrighted because of the song, but it's very well put together. And this game originally came out on the Super Nintendo first, and then it came out with the PS1 version. The Super Nintendo version is a good version, but the problem with that one is that there's too many encounter rates. I mean, the encounter rate in that game is insane, so that might turn a lot of people off from it. The Game Boy Advance version, I really don't think I need to go over why people shouldn't get that version of the game. I think there's a PSP version of this game that might be the superior one, but still, I think the PlayStation 1 is pretty much one of the top ones you should get of this game. Now, story and gameplay, I don't want to go over too much of the story, but I do think it's well done for its time. For the Tales of series, it's definitely a great beginning. Obviously, the newer Tales games had kind of advanced the way they tell their storytelling. Now there's the gameplay. This is a action RPG, and the last Tales game that had like a combat like this was actually, I believe it was Tales of Legendia. That's actually one of my favorite Tales games. Even though the gameplay may seem a little bit simplistic, I could assure you, once you get other characters and more spells and moves, this game really turns it up. Definitely a lot of fun. And next up is Signalis. So I heard about this game. They told me it was a survival horror game, like a top-down survival horror game. And after playing just a little bit of this game, it already has one of the best elements about survival horror games, and that's dread. I haven't felt this kind of dread since playing Silent Hill, the first one. So definitely something that I think a lot of survival horror fans will want to try to check out. I'm not too far in the game just yet. You know, the game kind of throws a couple puzzles at you in the beginning, you know, that kind of threw me off, but they were actually pretty easy. But I'm having fun playing this one, and I should finish it probably within the next couple days or so. But I'd love to know what you guys think about it in the comments. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for this video. Sorry I got this video a bit late. You know, UFC was on the other day. You know, my man John Jones won the championship, so I had to make sure I watched that. So the video got a little bit delayed, but it's here. Hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to my buddy Kyle for the hookup on the 2 games. I'm going to try to give Velvet Assassin another try, but I don't know yet. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. Radical Reggie, and I will see you all later.